What's good, YouTube? All right. So there comes a time in every man's life when he has to make certain decisions, um, some harder than others. But when it comes to YouTube and the people you follow, the channels that maybe you use for inspiration or advice or entertainment, um, they're ran by people, content creators, right? And it's one thing if you're just listening to a guy who covers video games or um, talks about random topics. But when we get into the sphere where it's more about like self help and like how to navigate through life, how to be successful, those type of people, um, what what people tend to want to look for is signs that they follow their own advice. Basically, they're not trying to sell you like a false bill of goods, right? So if someone says like, "All right, be successful. Just how you get rich. Just how you do this or that," and then they look like a bum, you're not gonna follow them, right? So I wanted to make this video about my fresh and fit journey, right? A men's podcast that was meant to help guys, get out of a rut, get their finances in order, maybe, get in shape, and mainly how to deal with women. Putting yourself in the right position to where you can handle women, right? Because you probably gonna have to do some improvement before you're capable of getting the woman that you want or having that confidence that's necessary, right? Perfectly understandable. And most guys, whether they even have a problem getting women or they just got out of a bad relationship with a woman, um, you know, it can end up leaving you in a slump. So people that make that type of content, people from the red pill manosphere, it's helpful. A lot of guys be wanting to commit suicide and be be raging at the world, and it's a good outlet to try to get your thoughts in order and get back on the right track, right? But what I've learned, even before um, the red pill manosphere, when I was following other content creators for other random stuff, is that when it comes to the internet and social media, YouTube and whatever, the internet allows people to have a certain level of anonymity. It gives it allows people to have a dual personality. There's the people that they show you in front of the screen, and there's the person that exists in real life. Most people are self conscious. Most people um, are nervous about how they would be perceived in their everyday. Well, especially when it comes to strangers. If you've been growing up with your homies and they've gotten used to your behaviors and they know like your struggle and stuff. Of course, you're gonna have people that can understand and whatever. But when it comes to random people online, they're more quicker to judge, cast doubt, whatever. So, why am I saying this? Well, because recently, probably over the past year or so, especially just recently, Fresh and Fit have been getting caught up in a lot of these, call them scandals, call them situations, whatever. But a lot of it is pertaining women, right? Um, we've had for Myron, we've had a girl try to say that she was pregnant. Come to find out, she was lying, quote unquote lying. We don't really know if she ever got an abortion off screen or whatever, but she had made the allegations that Myron had got her pregnant. He had to make a video addressing the situation, voice recordings of a phone call they had, whatever. Okay. Fast forward a little bit more or whatever. We've had text messages between Myron and some type of fitness girl where he's saying, I'm high value. You should be lucky to, of this opportunity to, to get on the show. We got to fuck or whatever, whatever. Makes him look like shit, whatever. And then, justifies it with, because he's him or whatever. And we've had Fresh, who was with that Miranda girl, the white snow bunny, who makes TikToks about using people for money or whatever, and how Fresh was trying to claim her as his girl, and they were getting kind of close. I mean, he tries to play it off as just content or whatever. I think that's a lie, but it is what it is. I'm not behind the scenes. I don't really know. And eventually he gets roasted because of her TikTok, and girls can say, I was just doing it for content. I was just, trying to play up some. I said, even if that was the case, this is not the type of girl I would keep around me, someone who's willing to just chase after trends and put herself out there and make herself look like a gold digger and stuff, even though that she's not. I'm like, whatever. All girls are gold diggers anyway. Like you said, it just, some people hide the shovel a little bit better. And then we come to the Shin Asian, Miss Asia, whatever, who with the bolt-ons and looks very Instagram like, fitness girl, whatever, and then, Fresh, makes her his girlfriend, takes her to see his mom, and eventually makes some type of official proclamation about being boyfriend, girlfriend, though he might be able to still mess with other girls. I don't remember exactly how they figured that out, but at some point in time throughout that relationship, he ends up breaking it off for reasons, right? And then she ends up coming out with the whole pregnancy thing that she makes public because she videotapes a phone call where she explains to him that she's pregnant, and he says to go get the pill. And then people roast Fresh because he's so quick to give her to get the pill, and he looks like an asshole. Now, that's one way to think about it. I don't really care about the whole asking someone to take a pill, especially if you don't know what type of discussions they've had behind closed doors about not wanting kids. Can I still bust inside? You just take the proper stuff, because I really, sex feels better without the thing. And even with that type of agreement, you are giving up a lot of leverage and a lot of power to a female, which was a dumb mistake, even if you thought you had an agreement. You really can't have agreements with females, especially if it's not written down. Verbal agreements with females they don't exist, really. I mean, that was a dumb thing that he possibly had done. But he had put himself in a situation to where now he has to ask for her to get an abortion. And if she is pregnant, he could be on the hook for 18 years. Now, there's probably been some other little things in between that where they've been fucking around. But supposedly Myron has a body count of like 300. Fresh has a body count of like 1,000. And all this was done so that they were able to discern and pick out good chicks and know how not to get finessed and all this other stuff. And they keep getting fucked over by these chicks and getting put out and dragged through and having to make these response videos and really doing damage to the platform. And it doesn't make sense. I mean, well, it does make sense if you really think that they really don't know what the fuck they're doing. That maybe they know like some very surface level shit. But what I think is going on here is maybe they have racked up those high body counts, but let's say Myron has 300 bodies. All right. And he started fucking at 18 years old. And let's say each girl he fucked was like 3 to 4 month relationship. He'd be an old ass man if he actually fucked those girls and actually had some form of a relationship. So what it tells you is that a lot of them are one night stands, 1 week relationships or whatever. Meaning, yes, you know how to talk the pants off a woman through manipulation, telling them what they want, whatever. But you really haven't spent enough time with them for a long period of time to actually see how well they can manipulate. If you keep your time short with females, you really ain't going to learn too much, right? Because the deeper you are in a relationship, I think the more vindictive they can become, because when a girl feels that she has more and more time invested, she's willing to do crazier and crazier things. So there's no way that none of these body counts were quality body counts. They were just notches for notches' sake. And I think that's the problem, because I don't think it's necessarily really helped them discern anything. Case in point, they're getting finessed and getting put on blast by these chicks. So, and that's why I came to the conclusion that there's something missing from the red pill. And it makes sense why this specific thing is missing from the red pill, because I think they've even made comments on it. And the thing is morality. And you can make the argument like, some type of religion or faith or belief system or whatever, should be used so that can be an added barrier towards discernment. Now, I understand why they don't apply that, because you will box out a lot of your viewers if they don't have the same belief system as you. So you give them the bare bones, basic strategy on how to deal with women, right? And then based on your audience's different ideologies and stuff, they can kind of apply it accordingly. But here's the thing. That means you should have some type of system or whatever in place as well. We don't really know what it is, but it does seem like it's not working for them. Right? A lot of the red pill talking points are typically about biology, which is facts. About the attractions and how women and men respond to certain things, and how on average or more often than not, these are the kind of results you're going to get, and all this. All that stuff is fine. But you are reducing men and women down to basically animals, which we are, but we're way more sophisticated than that. And what I mean by that is we have to apply some type of morality in there, or we're no different than the animals. I would ask every man out there, would you rather be a beast or a man? Someone who flies off the whims of their emotions, kind of like a female anyway, and let their dick get them into trouble? Or would you be a man who, one of the main principles, this is probably the most important principle of being a man above everything else, is discipline. Discipline is what separates us from the women and the fucking animals. Because men have to have discipline, because we're held accountable to such a higher degree than anything else on the planet. And these men lack discipline. Fresh and Fit lack discipline. It's one of the main reasons why, we want multiple girls. We can't, whatever. We want. Sometimes discipline means not having what you want. And you may be like, I worked so hard to do this. I said, okay. And then you run into problems like this. Right? So shit's not working out. Maybe a little bit more discipline would help. This is probably why men should try to stick with one girl. I mean, there are multiple different avenues you could take if you really think you need to have more than one girl. Now, but if you're trying to have one girl, you can, vet, discern for over a period of time. Like Myron says, we're going to vet for about a year and, whatever, make her your main girl and this and that. Okay, cool. Now she's the main girl. Let's say you've made a pretty good choice and she's not the type to finesse you. She's pretty loyal. She has your back or all that good shit you talk about. But you still want to go mess around with other girls. Now, she might accept it. You might have talked to her about it and she thinks it's okay. And it might work for some time. She's probably okay with it until she's not. And a woman technically has all the power to take you down, regardless of what you agreed to and signed or whatever the case may be. She's a female. They get special privileges. And you're setting yourself up, even in an agreement, that you can mess with other girls. Let alone if the other girls that you're messing with aren't vetted as deeply as your main chick, you're still setting yourself up on the other end to either, catch a disease or whatever, or STD or whatever, or them to say that you did something to them and come out with allegations. And you're living a reckless lifestyle. Yes, I understand kings and sultans and all this stuff had multiple women's and stuff like that. Well, the difference is they were the law too. So they're not going to, charge themselves. You live in a modern day world where you're not a king. You just got a little bit of money. And that could be taken away from you at any time if a girl just says the right things. You should have discipline. Now, the other avenue you could take is just pay for the girl. Just pay the girl up front. Have sex with her. Though I know I said something about the whole agreement thing doesn't really work with women. She's more likely to agree with you or honor the agreement if you pay her up front. Oh, but you'll see the darker side of women and you'll see each other as just commodities and we, we think it's we're not knocking it, but we don't condone it, or we don't really want people to practice. I say, well, the main reason why I think is if guys actually, it doesn't take much for a guy to earn a few bucks, but if they're filling that void that most men have when it comes to women by just paying for it, well, guess what? They don't have to listen to your content no more because they don't have to worry about spitting game, manipulating women to try to get them to do something they don't know they want to do or don't want to do at all, to put you in a situation where they may come back in even years later and shit on you. So just pay for the girl up front. It means the back end won't be as backloaded because y'all both got what y'all wanted. You didn't tell her anything that you didn't have to lie to her and promise her anything, or because usually game, you're probably going to say some shit you don't mean. Game is typically going to involve you saying something you don't mean. And the only way games works is that when you talk her pants off and you get the cheeks and then you deuce out, she has to be content with the way you left. Even after you lied, even after you might have said you wanted to pursue a relationship, even if you thought she's the only girl that you've been talking to, all that stuff that you tell her to get her pants off, when it comes to a head and she finds out that all that shit's a lie, she has to accept the L for you to be able to walk out scot-free. Now, some women may take the L, some women may chalk it up to the game, but a lot of women won't. And if you keep repeating this shit, you're bound to get caught up. So if paying for the woman's gonna make you see the darker side of women, what's getting dragged to court? What's getting your kids snatched away? What's getting baby trapped? What's having to make these videos on YouTube about receipts and stuff? You're seeing the darker side now. And what just happened is you got played at your own game because she finessed the finesser. And now you're out here trying to show receipts because of the lack of discipline. And here's the funny thing is there's two of you guys. Both of y'all experts where y'all can each watch each other's back. She fooled both of y'all. So you're supposed to have the blind spot of your homie, and you were caping for it early in her introduction. Talk about she's not a sex worker. She's from a wealthy family. Then once Fresh gets screwed, you're out here trying to prove that she is the sex worker now, which means you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you have a public platform and a reputation that you're destroying right in front of your own audience because you have no fucking discipline. One of the main things a man must have, it's probably number one, is discipline. Because discipline can transcend a lot of different fields. Discipline with your money, discipline with women, discipline with family. Pussy isn't worth your reputation. But obviously, y'all, you think it is. Because y'all are willing to keep going back to the same well of pussies and then having to keep making these videos. Just stop. Right? And it took me. I mean, I always knew that there was something missing from the red pill, and there's an entertainment factor to the Fresh and Fit videos and stuff like that. But over time, I slowly just stopped watching, and I would scroll past the videos. Over the past 6 months to a year, I barely watch any other Fresh and Fit videos. At a certain point, a guy thinks that you've gotten pretty much everything you had to get out of it. But now that I'm checking in from time to time, and I'm like, y'all, what are y'all doing, man? The women are wrecking your lives. The experts, the guys that went from nothing to something, which to me should help you. Should mean it. You understand women even better because you were the nerds or whatever that didn't get the girls, and you saw how they treated the guys that weren't desirable. You got to be desirable, and then because the guys that have always had it probably don't really understand the struggle. So y'all got unique views and all this stuff, and all that goes out the window to the point where you're making videos on YouTube and getting emotional, yelling at the camera, slamming stuff. And I'm just like, all this is because of pussy, man. It's crazy. Pussy. So at this point, I'm like, all right, it's time to unsub. It's time to move on. I mean, I don't really watch the videos anyway, but this video is for the other guys that may be having questions and worrying about female nature and all this stuff. And I'm like this. They talk about practice and discipline. Dick discipline is number one. Like discipline in general. Like they've been self-indulging to the point where I got to have multiple women. I might have my woman pack my condoms. I'm out here racking up body counts. I'm like, you have no discipline. And it pays for it. Hell, it's probably why God created STDs to kind of artificially put some type of discernment that has to be forced upon the masses to where you can't just go run around willy-nilly. You got to check in on the people and what you're doing and stuff. I mean, I don't know. There's sometimes you feel like there's certain things that were just divine intervention put into place, because if it was left up to us, we would just destroy ourselves. And indulging in reckless sexual activities with women is one of the biggest downfalls of man. So I hope whoever heard this got something out of it. And good luck, Fresh and Fit. But yeah, you lost a subscriber. It ain't really a big deal. You got 1 million subs, but y'all really gotta like change course and fix your life. I mean, Even Andrew Tate like started trying to find religion and shit, but he might end up getting locked up anyway. So I'll holla at y'all. Peace.